Hello. Quess Corp, India's largest staffing and workforce management company, recently released its latest earnings for the quarter one of fiscal year 2026. So let's check out what were said in these earnings. So, first, we have the overall business segments. How did the business segments do in the quarter one fiscal year 2026? So first we have general staffing. Now this includes BFSI, that is banking and financial services and insurance sector, consumer retail and telecom sector, manufacturing and construction. So general staffing is when Quest Corp provides staffing workers to these sectors. Now, this accounts for 97.3% of all its headcount, of all its staff, contributes around 85%. Let me zoom in, 85% to its overall revenue and contributes 53% to its EBITDA. Then, here we have the overseas business. This includes Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Sri Lanka. So Quest Corp is a big company. It's overseas, it's international, and also the Middle East region, contributing to 1.2% of its total headcount, very small, 5,599 workers. Revenue, 8% contribution, 284 crores. And EBITDA, 17 crores in quarter one of fiscal 2026, a 21% contribution. Then we come to professional staffing. Now, this includes digital and technology skills. Now, very important, global capability centers or GCC services, very important for Quest Corp. Then we have recruitment services, and then we have international mobility services. This contributed to 1.4% of its total headcount with 6,652 workers, 244 crores in revenue, 7% contribution, and 25 crores in EBITDA, 29% of total EBITDA. So very small percentage of revenue, but a very large percentage of EBITDA. Moving onwards, we have, yes, quarter one fiscal year 2026 highlights. So the largest domestic staffing player with a headcount of 462,000 people. Then it's recognized as the number one staffing company in India, and revenue quarter one fiscal year 2026, 3,651 crores, a growth of 2% year on year. Sorry for the audio. EBITDA, or earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization, at 70 crore rupees, a growth of 10% year on year. So revenue grew by only 2%, EBITDA grew by 10%. Profit after tax was at 51 crores, with earnings per share at 3.4 rupees per share. The company, as of June 2025, has zero, sorry, has zero debt. It's a zero debt company. Moving onwards, we have more financial highlights. So first, we have general staffing, 3,122 crores in revenue, a very small 0.2% increase. Then professional staffing, 244 crores in revenue, a massive 31% increase. Overseas business, 284 crores in revenue, a very small 0.4% increase. Then digital platforms. I think I forgot to discuss this earlier, but Quest Corp also has some digital platforms, and we're going to look at them later. The revenue declined by 56% year on year in this quarter to 1 crores. So overall, revenue rose by 2%. Here we see the operating margin by business segment. So general staffing, we had 46 crores, a 3% increase year on year in, I believe that's EBITDA. Professional staffing contributed 25 crores, so 48% increase in EBITDA year on year. So professional staffing revenue is increasing massively. Operating profit or EBITDA is increasing massively. Overseas business, despite not a very like large increase in revenue, still grew its operating profit by 12%. Digital platforms, negative. It's in losses and it declined. The negative losses expanded. The losses expanded by 32%. So total, the EBITDA rose by around 11%. Very nice. Here we can see the earnings after tax growing by 8%. The earnings after tax, yes, margin was 1.4%, which is also an increase. Earnings per share increased by 4% year on year, and earnings per share adjusted grew by 8%. Now, if you're wondering what are these adjusted, basically Quess Corp recently had a demerger and there were expenses related to the said demerger. So after excluding those expenses because they're not related to its core operations, they have produced or adjusted. They've adjusted the profit after tax to exclude those demerger related expenses. So 8% increase in adjusted profit after tax. Moving on, yes, we already saw this. We already saw this. Revenue increased 2%. EBITDA increased by 10%. EBITDA margin 1.9%. In quarter one of fiscal 2025, it was 1.8%. So very nice 0.1 percentage point increase. Earnings per share, we saw 8% nice increase. Uh, Adjusted profit after tax increased by 8%. Very, very nice. Then moving onwards, we have hiring snapshot. So how much hiring was done? Now, gross additions to gross hiring, not net, but total increase. So we're not talking about any reductions done, but total increase. We had 79,000 this quarter. Sector wise, we have the highest additions in industrials with 19,000, followed by retail, 18,828 workers added. BFSI sector, 13,960. State-wise, we have Maharashtra leading the way with 12,984 workers. We have Tamil Nadu next, and we have Karnataka. So 79,000 workers were added. Moving on, we have the segment-wise updates. Very, very important. So how, when we're talking about revenue increase and all that, how is general staffing doing? How is professional staffing doing? How is overseas business doing? And what are the reasons? Why are they doing like they're doing? So giving more reasons, more clarity. So general staffing, 0.2% increase in revenue, or EBITDA increased by only 3% this quarter. So why? Now, headcount here was 4,49,112 workers and 2,000 people were added in what is said is a very challenging market environment. So currently, Quest Corp's general staffing segment is facing a challenging market environment. So there was growth in the manufacturing and industry sector and in the BFSI sector, but there was decline in the consumer, retail, and telecom sector. So one segment is declining, other two are growing. For some important things, EBITDA margins remained resilient. We saw that, right? It remained resilient due to strong operational discipline, strong operational discipline. 79 new contracts were added in this quarter. Then general staffing, already saw this, the headcount decreased by 23%. The core headcount decreased by 73%. Use the associate score, we can see this. Then this is the collect and pay headcount by collect and pay model. As the name suggests, collect and pay is basically they collect payment from customers, then distribute that payment to workers. Only 76% of its workers are under a collect and pay model. Moving on, let's see how are the other business segments doing. Here we have professional staffing. This was impressive now, 31% increase in revenue, 48% increase in EBITDA. What are the reasons? Now here they have said headcount at 6,652. They added 12 contracts and GCC exposure was at 73%. And last, we have overseas staffing. Overseas staffing increased by only 0.4%, operating EBITDA increased by 12%, and there have been problems in Singapore. There was a 18% year-on-year growth, but Singapore continues to face challenges with a decline of 7% year quarter-on-quarter in headcount. So currently problems are being faced in Singapore. Overall, Middle East, Philippines, and Malaysia have shown headcount and EBITDA growth, with additions in IT and ITES sector. So Philippines is having problem, but the other places are doing pretty well. So overall, I believe that's it. They currently are having some market problems. The market, the environment is a bit challenging. That's why general staffing has not done that well in terms of growth. Singapore, there have been issues going on, and Singapore is a very important part of its overseas business. So if these problems, which are systematic, it's not related to Quest, but they're relating to the markets they operate in, they get solved, maybe Quest will do better. That's it, and hope you have a nice day.